So we're going to keep these rolling pretty much all day long. I have an honor to introduce another member of our staff at ADE in the STEM unit, and this is Dr. Tina Moore. She has been with us now for a little bit over a year, and she hasn't ran away screaming yet. Building our state math initiative, built MathQuest, and is leading both our internal ADE team, math team, along with the external math specialist. Just quickly, so people know, about a year ago we restructured how ADE handles our specialists along with our external specialists along with our internal specialists. Previously, the math program manager had pretty much been over PD development and the external specialist team. We brought those positions back to Little Rock or to ADE, both in math and science, and now our program managers are over the math initiative as a whole, along with professional development and our external specialist growth. So Tina not only is new to our team, but she's filling basically what is a new role on our team and doing a phenomenal job. So I've asked her to share a little bit today about what math is doing in the MathQuest, and I think you'll find it interesting. Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Anthony. And I'll give him a moment to pull up the slides. And I would like to say that this is the most poppin' room in the place. I'm wanting to go around and play with all that's going on in here in just a second. I'm just glad we have electricity here, because apparently last night some of you did not have electricity. All right. There we go. So I'd like for you to think what you remember about being a student in the K-12 setting, not as an educator, but as a student. What were the instructional moves and strategies your teacher used, and what did you do as a student? And whenever I start talking about our math, and I'll say initiative in air quotes, our math plans, our math PD, but I'll use the term initiative loosely. When I ask this question, always get the same answers. People say they remember rows, they remember the teacher lecturing, they remember worksheets, a lot of memorization, a lot of homework that was 1 through 40 evens, plus numbers 50 and 52, something like that. So I hear a lot of the same thing, regardless of whether the people answering are 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, or 50-year-olds. So then we think about what are the changes in the past several decades, and ask, some of these questions are rhetorical and some aren't. Have the needs and demands of society and the workforce changed? And obviously, with everything we have in this room right now, that answer is an overwhelming yes. There are things on these tables that weren't even around 10 years ago. So definitely the workforce has changed, and the way we handle things in society with problem solving. I'm sitting here looking right now at some VEX things going on. Things are definitely different in society and the workforce. And have we experienced a change in instructional technology? Well, when I first started teaching, I thought the whiteboard was pretty cool because that was better than having a chalkboard. And then we moved to smart boards, and now so much of what we do is even virtual learning. And Google Classroom, that's totally changed what is possible in today's K-12 environment. But this is where I get a lot of different answers. When I ask, has math content changed? And when I ask this, about half the people say yes and half the people say no. And really, their answer is the same. It just depends on how you interpret this question. So is the Pythagorean theorem still the Pythagorean theorem? Yeah, it's not changed. A squared plus B squared still equals C squared. That's no different. But what's different is how we dive into that math, how deep we go with it, how we assess it, what that looks like. Old school textbooks may have had 20 problems or so that were just memorize the procedures, plug and chug, and then you get to the word problems and all you do is regurgitate exactly what you just did with the naked number of problems. Now we're expected that students are able to reason and problem solve with the Pythagorean theorem. And also a lot of our math content has shifted grade levels. What is 8th grade math now was more like algebra 20 years ago. So has pedagogy in the classroom changed? And I also get varied answers on this. If I change the question to, should pedagogy change, then I always get an overwhelming yes. Because if we went across the state of Arkansas right now, unannounced, well, it's summer, so no one's going to be there, but during the regular school year, if we went across the state unannounced into classrooms and just showed up, and there wasn't a dog and pony show going on, they didn't know we were coming, a lot of the classrooms would look like we remember them before. Worksheets, rows, teachers talking the whole time. So we've had a lot of shifts, but it's not been adopted 100%. So we need numerate graduates. This is also referred to as being quantitatively literate. So what does that mean? Being numerate, and I'll just read this definition here so I don't mess it up any, means being able to reason with numbers and other mathematical concepts and to apply these in a range of contexts to solve a variety of problems. You notice I didn't say it means being able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Do we want students to be able to do that? Well, of course, but that's low-hanging fruit. That's considered the basics. A calculator will even do that. We want people to be able to use that math to solve actual problems. Here are some examples of what numeracy is. So numeracy is much more than being able to multiply 3 times 4. It's being able to figure out that that's what you needed to do. It's being able to look at data, charts, and diagrams. It's being able to know if your answer is even reasonable and makes sense. And it's being able to make decisions based upon that. And this goes much beyond even STEM careers. We're all plugging STEM here, but it goes just everyday life, functioning in a 21st century society. We need people to use math. And it's really troubling that only 4 out of 3 people struggle with math. 4 out of 3. And this, I hate to embarrass anyone, but this was at my local Home Depot in Cabot, Arkansas, just about a month ago, and I just had to take a picture of it. It was $3.33, but now it is on sale 3 for $10. I'm not sure how long that stayed there, but I had to take a picture because actually that means it went up 1/3 of a cent. It's actually more expensive. So we may have some folks out there that are not numerate. These are our most recent test results. The new ones will be coming out shortly. But last year, on the ACT Aspire, we saw that students across the state were not reaching the achievement goals that we would desire. 3rd grade had the highest at just a little over half. And then by 9th and 10th grade, it dropped all the way down to almost just 1/4 of 10th graders were reaching grade level. Now, we know the reality is 9th and 10th graders may not take the test quite as seriously, but we also know that at 3rd grade, if only half the students are getting what they need to get, math builds upon itself. So by the time they're in high school, that foundation can no longer hold up to new learning. So we look at college readiness. The average ACT in Arkansas is a 19, and that is not going to get you into Woo Pig Sooie, because you have to have a 23 for college algebra. It will get you into quantitative literacy, which you may or may not be familiar with, now Math Pathways at the college level. Back in the day, it didn't matter if you were majoring in something that needed college algebra or if you were majoring in underwater basket weaving, you still had to have college algebra. But that has changed now, and many of the arts and humanities pathways, you can take quantitative literacy, which is actually way more applicable to what those people need. But still yet, if a 19's average, that means a whole lot of students are not even making a 19, so they're not able to get into even quant lit. So this is the remediation stats for Arkansas. As we know, in our 2-year institutions with a more open door policy, we have a lot of students, almost half have to have remediation. In our 4-year, it's not quite as bad, but it's still nearly 20%. And if we look at the ACT college readiness, which is defined as a 22, 27% of our students make that, meaning 73% of our students are not college ready. The nation's number is a little higher, but the reason for that is because in Arkansas we test all 11th graders, where in other states Only a few do that, and the others are signing up for it because they are paying for it and want to take it. So I think we agree we have to do something different. And notice I said different, not more, because teachers do not have another moment in the day to do more. So we just have to do things differently. And we have to focus on things we can impact. There are many factors that we cannot change. We cannot change the socioeconomic status of students. We can't change what their home life is like. We can't change the fact that we may be teaching 8th grade math and they come to us at a 4th grade math level. So we have to focus just on what we can, and that is effective teaching. We've known for a long time, the research has told us that there is no greater factor, no greater impact than effective teaching. You could look at research paper after research paper. Even the citation here is 2006, and Smoker was talking about something that was from the 80s. And if we look at John Hattie's meta-analysis, we know that the greatest impact is collective teacher efficacy on student achievement. That is the staff's shared belief that they can make a difference in student achievement. So if we're going to focus on teaching, what does that look like? We have to keep in mind pedagogical content knowledge. Teaching in math, effective teaching in math, is completely different than effective teaching in literacy. We could say the same thing for science. Teaching science is completely different than teaching social studies. So we can't just take this broad brush and say that all content areas have certain pedagogy you should be using, because that is not the case. I could get an amen from my science people if they were hearing me right now, I'm sure. So we did focus, when we designed what our future of math would look like in Arkansas, here are some things we looked at. We needed it to be student-focused. We needed to think about STEM education and how math fit into that. 21st century skills, we needed to prepare students for those. We had to think about our current assessments and the current research. So on student-focused education, the vision and mission of ADE makes it very clear that we're focusing on all students learning at high levels, not just some, but all. The way we've taught math for years worked very well for some people, and a lot of us in this room, it worked well for me. But there's a lot of students that do not learn that way. So we have to reach all of them and prepare all of them for life after high school. That is a matter of equity. It shouldn't matter your zip code, your race, your gender, all students. Next, STEM education. AR STEMolution, Anthony a minute ago spoke about the new division at ADE and our unit, and so we want to look at how math fits into that. Last year, it was released America's Strategy for STEM Education, and that reminded us that math is the gateway to STEM careers. The problem is that gate is often closed because of math. So we do not want math to be a barrier, we want math to be the gateway. Additionally, we know that students who learn math in context actually become much more adept at problem solving. So we need each other. Science needs math, and math needs science. 21st century skills. Could you click on that video, please? shout out to Arkansas Department of Ed communication folks for helping us make this video. They did an incredible job. The content was the math specialist. We provided the content to them. They developed this video, so we're very thankful for their work on that. So I think everyone in here, since we're talking to STEM folks and we're in the STEM playground, is fully aware of the 21st century skills students need and the top skills employers seek. And I think others have spoke to this. Whoa. And we know that, whoa.
Hi, my name is Matthew Fright. I'm a park interpreter here at Penn.
I hope he has 21st century skills to be a park ranger. So we can look at this and we don't see add, subtract, multiply, or divide on there. That doesn't mean that's not important, those basic skills, but those are basic. It's not 1950s, that's not enough. That's very low-hanging fruit that's assumed. So when you survey employers, they don't list those things. If we look at current assessments, we know that our assessments are not going to stay at DOK level 1. They're at DOK level 2 and 3. So we have to have classrooms that prepare students for that. On the recent ACT Aspire 8th grade test, almost half the test was DOK level 2 and 3. So part of our problem with student achievement, teachers are teaching, they're teaching their hearts out, but our classrooms often are at DOK 1, and then we test students at DOK 2 and 3. So it doesn't matter that they know the basic content, they don't know how to apply it in rigorous problems. That's just one example of that type of problem. We're not in benchmark days anymore, Arkansas. Benchmark has gone. And it doesn't matter if we're doing ACT Aspire, or if we're doing Park, or if we're doing any of them, life is not DOK 1. That's an example from a Park item, just in case you were thinking it was only ACT Aspire. So, about out of time here, another reason for Quest, math is not just procedural fluency. That's piece of it, that's only one piece of being mathematically proficient. We have to focus on all the other areas as well. We have to stop this tug of war. People think, oh, well, you need conceptual understanding. And other people say, no, you need procedural fluency. You actually need both to be mathematically proficient. So we have to have balance. So our math initiative is quantitative essentials for students and teachers. Notice I said Quest, not Quet, because there's an S in there. We're not just focused on effective teaching, but also what students are doing in the classroom. You'll hear us throw around the word ambitious. It's a journey for ambitious teaching that promotes equity engagement of all students in meaningful mathematics learning, experiences of reasoning and problem solving. We also are focusing on growth mindset and positive identities as doers of math. It's not okay to accept that we're not good at math. We don't go around and say it's okay that I can't read. Nobody's okay with that, so we have to stop being okay with not being good at math. It's focused on the effective teaching practices. That came out with Principles to Action in 2014. And also with the standards for mathematical practice. They tie in together. For a student to make sense of problems and persevere in solving them, a teacher actually has to use those type rich tasks in a classroom. We will be implementing this and are implementing it throughout the state in our co-ops with our math specialists. And what makes it different than some of our previous training is it's ongoing. It's a 2-year training. It's not just a sit and get one and done. There's embedded support over 2 years. This year we started out with 6-8 in high school, and next year we'll extend to K-5. That's a little bit of a breakdown. If you want more information, we have a math table over here, and we would be glad to share more information about how you can get signed up, your teachers can get signed up, and your instructional facilitators. So please get with us. You can look on the ADE website and the STEM unit as well.